Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And I actually want to open up the book to a certain page, and that certain page is the anti-crypto narrative that is being pushed. This is all to support their agenda. And their agenda is that sickening CBDC idea around, oh, let's have programmable money because it's going to benefit you and everyone around you. No, this is not the case. It's all a fake idea around this world of efficiencies created by digital currencies, and oh, you'll have security and everything will be all, fine and dandy. No, it's not going to be that. It is going to look extremely different, and we are going to be addressing it today, and we are going to be talking about a lot of things. So one, I want to address a few things happening right now around the anti-crypto stance. So here we have the IMF to bail out Argentina only if the country adopts an anti-crypto stance. This is very interesting because Argentina is scheduled to receive a $45 billion bailout from the International Monetary Fund. Now, they are actually pushing against crypto and saying that they will only bail them out if they adopt this anti-crypto stance. We recently seen this as well in the US when SVB went down, as well as, there was another one. I can't remember the name of the bank, but the two banks that went down, they were selling off the assets, they were selling off the bank itself, and those who were actually buying it up, they had to agree to not have any crypto business tied to it. This is a very similar stance, and we recently just seen the IMF announce this token. Now, a lot of people said that there was actually no ties to the IMF through it, but who knows what could really happen here with the IMF. We know that they have been pro CBDC for a while as well, but it seems as though we are seeing a blatant attack on crypto. And I've said it time and time again that this anti-crypto narrative is going to continue to be pushed around. It's going to allow them to say, hey, let's get rid of crypto. Let's announce this. And it's going to be a US digital currency because, again, we've already talked about it. They don't need crypto or stablecoins if they have a US digital currency that they can control. And that's all it is about. And what you see over here from Kim.com, the crypto war starts this year. Never use centralized mass surveillance government crypto. Only use decentralized independent crypto with minimal transaction fees, instant payments, and secure wallets. Stay away from exchanges and off-chain payments as well. And we do see down here, like he's talking about how crypto basically is your best tool against government corruption. Stop using fiat currency, the endless printing of money to finance their corrupt schemes. Never use government-issued crypto. Make the world a better place by shifting power to the people. Only buy from vendors that accept crypto as well. And we do see down here the crypto bans are coming. Crypto offers no benefit to governments. Crypto shifts power to the people. No money printing, no empire, no government bonds, no wars. Those who abuse power for self-enrichment and control will fight crypto to maintain the status quo. Crypto prohibits or prohibitions are coming. Just keep using it. Let's bring the crypto family together. No more fighting amongst each other. Let's instead fight the enemies of freedom. It doesn't matter which decentralized crypto ultimately wins. The crown of mass adoption competition is good for innovation. And yes, I do think right now, currently, we are starting to see a lot of the bankers coming together and fighting back against crypto. But we are also seeing the bankers themselves, say, hey, ditch crypto, get a US CBDC. That's what we're basically seeing them shine upon, saying, hey, this is going to save everything. This is going to be the big thing. And the main thing that we've been addressing is the US dollar's dominancy, right? The status, the reserve status of it. And we do see from May 5th, 2021, a lot has changed since then. But this dropped to a 25-year low in terms of like the actual exchange reserves. And you could actually see the demand for the dollars back then was also starting to fall. And today, more than ever, we know that it is starting to fall drastically, and a lot of the power is being shifted towards the BRICS, which I just recently made a video on yesterday at noon. So as we do look at this, there is a lot of things changing. Now, this is the perfect narrative for them to utilize, right? Is the idea of the reserve status. They're going to use shiny terminology. They're going to say, if we don't hold up the US dollar's reserve status, it is going to cause systemic chaos. It is going to cause a systemic collapse. Your retirement funds, your 401ks, your this, your that, it's all going to deplete at a massive rate. the entire US economy will completely crumble to nothing. And all this, they're going to fearmonger it. That's what they're going to do. And what is this going to lead to? Well, it's going to be leading to a CBDC. Over here from Yahoo themselves, they actually reported on this. This goes all the way back to March 1st of this year. We do see US explores central bank digital currency to preserve dollars reserve status. Listen close to this video real quick.
To break down the current landscape surrounding CBDCs is Jonathan McCollum, Davidoff Hutcher Citron Chair of Federal Government Relations. Good to have you on the show. So a lot of people wondering, we'll take a step back here, because obviously you have cryptocurrencies, you have stable coins, and then you have CBDC. How do the regulations differ with these?
Yeah, so it's interesting. The White House just issued a digital asset report, a comprehensive framework that came out on several of these aspects. The White House called on federal agencies to look into crypto assets, also explore central bank digital currency and the benefits and risks associated with those, and then also asks agencies to provide more clarity and guidance for cryptocurrency companies here in the U.S. As they move forward. As we're looking at central bank digital currencies, there are hundreds, over 100 countries currently exploring in the exploration phase of launching a CBDC. I think that, there are a lot of reasons for the U.S. to get involved, to maintain its status as a global reserve currency and to promote American values as the CBDCs start to pop up more around the country.
So yeah, this is going to be the perfect narrative for them to spin. And as we do look at CBDCs, yes, these are coming. This is not a joke. Like, as we actually look at CBDCs, they are launching every single day around some of the largest areas out there. And one of the bigger ones is like Saudi Arabia. We know the BRICS are moving very fast on this as well. We've seen some of the big four, the UK. We even seen Australia. We've seen Canada, even the US now as well. There's a lot of movement happening around CBDCs. And we even do see down here that we are thinking about whether a US CBDC, to the extent it has functionality that traditional forms of central bank money lack, could help to preserve the dollar's global role. And they're going to utilize this to push it. And the problem is that what comes with CBDCs, because ultimately CBDCs, like as we know around retail, the retail sector can't really benefit from a CBDC. There's no real benefits to a CBDC from the retail sector. A wholesale CBDC where it's just central banks, yeah, I could see a lot of, value gain, because again, if you have, these central banks having their own CBDC, well, guess what? Then you cut off the idea of a reserve currency, and then everyone is pretty much on their own. They rely on themselves, and any problems that do arise, well, it's basically caused by themselves. But the problem is that if you have a wholesale CBDC, we will 100% see a retail CBDC being pushed. And the biggest concern about all of this is what's actually happening, because we are seeing a much closer than expected launch date. In this video, they're actually talking about a 4 to 5 year time frame on a fully operational CBDC. I don't think it's going to take that time. I think that's going to take way less than that. I actually think that they have a CBDC already prepared for launch if that becomes the case. And we do see over here as well, just in China's Changshu City, to pay state employees salaries in digital yuan, CBDC. This just got announced yesterday. This is a big deal. This is a huge, huge deal. And this is going to continue to ramp up. This is going to continue to accelerate. And this trend is going to continue. Now, yes, I've said it time and time again that this is going to be coming to the US as well. We do see over here, Whitney Webb and Jimmy Dore warn that central bank digital currencies will be used to monitor all financial transactions and control how people can spend their money. The vast majority of every country in the world is developing some type of CBDC, and the central bankers have admitted, whether it's Augustin Carstens or Christine Lagarde, that it's about control. It's not about money. It's about ending financial anonymity, being able to surveil every transaction, where every dollar goes and is spent, and being able to control what people can and can't buy. If you control the money to the extent you can control what people can or can't do, where they can or can't go, the possibilities for them are really endless. And listen closely to this 1 minute and 30 second long clip.
Now we're reaching the end of the line, and essentially to avoid pitchforks at their door, we're being ushered into a paradigm of central bank digital currencies,
Yes.
And complete surveillance, so that people, when they figure out how screwed they've been, won't be able to do anything about it.
It's coming to America. They already have a website set up for the digital currency. It's like Fed Now or something like that. Or have you heard about that, Whitney?
Yeah, Fed Now launches in July. It's they claim it will make payments faster, and it has nothing to do with central bank digital currencies. Even though the vast majority of every country in the world is developing some sort of type of central bank digital currency, and the central bankers around the world have essentially admitted, whether it's Augustine Carstens, head of the BIS, or someone like Christine Lagarde, essentially saying that it's about control. It's not about money. It's about ending financial anonymity, being able to surveil every transaction where every dollar goes and is spent, and being able to control what people can and can't buy. And essentially, if you control the money to that extent, you can control what people can or can't do, where they can and can't go. I mean, the possibilities for them are really endless. But do we really want to give up all of that freedom to people that engage in extensive criminal activity and have for a long time, and can deceive the public? I mean, it's crazy.
And I do completely agree. Like, this is what's happening. And they already have quotes from these same individuals. Like, here's Augustine Carstens from the BIS, the general manager.
All our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash. And there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also, we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is. All our analysis on.
And then also the recent quote from Christine Lagarde, which we also included on the video just recently, actually talking about the digital euro that's coming in October, that will give central banks control over how citizens can spend their money. There will be control. You're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether, for very small amounts, anything that is around 300 to 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control, but that could be dangerous. Listen closely to this.
Well, I have a question about, I'm also a good user of electronic money. So my question, you're introducing the electronic euro, as I know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How can switching to an electronic currency help?
Well, two things. Number one, it will be decided in October. So we are preparing the ground. We want to be ready. We want to be trained, but it will not be decided until October 23. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm personally convinced that we have to move ahead is a situation like the one we are in now. We are dependent on the supply of gas by a very unfriendly country. I don't want Europe to be dependent on an unfriendly country's currency. For instance, I don't know, the Chinese currency, the Russian currency, the whatever. Or dependent on a friendly currency, but which is activated by a private corporate entity like, Facebook, or like Google, or anybody like that.
I'm a user of Bitcoin too, so I had bought it when it started, and I hope that it also will work through the special system. And I know there are many protests in Europe against the electronic euro. What is the reason?
It's the beauty of Europe. It has different positions. If you ask In Northern Europe, for instance, in the Netherlands, they're quite happy to see the e-euro coming. If you ask a young German man, he'll say, yeah, fine. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google, or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that would take over the sovereignty of Europe. I don't want a foreign currency to become the currency of trading within Europe. So we have to be ready.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the gray market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail. But the digital euro is going to have a limited amount of control. There will be control. You're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether for very small amounts, anything that is around 300, 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control. But that could be dangerous. The terrorist attacks on France back 10 years ago were entirely financed by those very small anonymous credit cards that you can recharge in total anonymity.
So yes, this is exactly their goal. This is why we have seen targets put on the backs of projects like Ripple, for example, for use of XRP, and this is why we see targets put on the backs of other projects. And this is why there is a lot of attacks going on within DeFi and crypto itself, because they want control. They want control. It's all about control. It's not about money. It's not about how efficient it is for you and me. They don't care about efficiency around your life or my life. They care about money. They care about control. That's all it is. And the biggest problem around this is that these mechanisms, remember, this is programmable money. If you control the code, which, hey, this is going to be built upon a private ledger, the central bank has full control of it, well, they could change that code. They could change the mechanism. It might come out with, oh, there's zero restrictions. It's, oh, hey, let's adopt this. Let's utilize it. All of a sudden, a year later, and now there's a mechanism for you only spending $1,500 per month. Oh, you can't buy meat. Oh, you can't buy this. You can't buy that. The only products you could buy are these. You could only utilize your money for these. Oh, you went to go buy a gas-powered vehicle? You went to fill up your gas tank? No, you can't do that. We only allow EV vehicles. You can only utilize your CBDC at a charging station. This is what the future looks like around programmable money, especially from the central bankers. Listen, I've talked about it. The Fed has completely ruined the US dollar. Go back to the inception of the Fed on the US dollar's purchasing power, and look at what the Fed has done to the US dollar since its inception. Complete ruin. These central bankers are extremely greedy. They love control and they love power. And what do you see down here? So this is actually the president of the Minneapolis Federal Reserve. He says that CBDCs are no better than Venmo unless the objective is to monitor every financial transaction and impose taxes directly on customer accounts, which exactly is the goal. What is that CBDC? What is it that a CBDC can do that Venmo can't do? Well, I could see why China would do it. If they want to monitor every one of your transactions, you could do that with a CBDC. You can't do that with Venmo. If you want to impose negative interest rates, you can do that with a CBDC. You can't do that with Venmo. And if you want to directly tax customer accounts, you can do that with a CBDC. You can't do that with Venmo. So I get why China would be interested. Why would the American people be interested in that? And exactly, that's like why we have been focused on this. There's over 114 countries representing over 95% of the global GDP that are exploring a CBDC. This is happening. Like, this is moving extremely fast, and there is not enough global awareness on this at all. In fact, there's not a lot of individuals that even understand this. There's not, like, I would argue that the percentage of the general public that understands and knows what CBDCs actually are is a very small margin. Remember, there's only 4% of the general public that actually holds crypto and understands what crypto is. That is a very small margin. So as we do look at CBDC and programmable money, not a lot of people understand this. And yes, I do believe that the FedNow system, or if you will, the Fed coin. This new system that they're going to launch and say that it's for our own good, that it's for your privacy, your security, your efficiency. It's all great. You know, I don't really like Robert Kiyosaki all that much, but I am right on par with this. Incoming Fed coin will track everyone in new 1984 style system. For anyone out there that read the book, the 1984, it's called the 1984. Great book, by the way. I think everyone should read it. But the book basically describes the reality of which CBDCs will basically create. And it's, you know, a full loss of privacy. It's a full loss of our control. Money itself will essentially be useless because guess what? We won't be able to utilize it the way that we can today. We won't be able to spend it freely. We won't be able to utilize it freely. There's going to be a lot of issues with this. And, you know, if you do care about your privacy, if you care about your control around money, if you want to be able to, you know, buy what you want and what you can currently, then you will 100% be against this new system. And like I said, as everyone is fully immersed with what's happening around the world and being distracted, and society, you know, currently right now, society feels very broken. You know, outside of what you see on the news, like there's not enough media attention on what's actually happening. We are seeing stores being raided. We are seeing communities being driven apart. We're seeing division at a massive rate within the US and outside of the US. You know, this is all great for the government because everyone will be fully caught off guard. We will see digital IDs, CBDCs, social credit scores. We will see all of this. And it's only a matter of time. And it's all going to be catered to us on a silver platter saying that's for your own good, that's for your benefit, that's this, that, whatever. We already have incredible technology here. We already have incredible digital assets that we could send money at, you know, a fraction of a penny. You know, I've talked about it, this crypto war that's been happening for so long. You know, we go back to the Ripple case. We go back to the SEC going after Ripple. We go back to, you know, XRP, how you could send almost $1 billion for a fraction of a penny. I mean, like, this is the reality. Like, we already have this technology here. The only problem is guess what? We essentially cut off the central bankers of control. That's why they're going after it. That's why they want to come after crypto extremely hard, and they want to invoke their strict regulations, and they want their control. They want to be the puppeteers again. They want control over this entire system, and they want control over what you can do with it. They want to track and trace everything. That's why they don't want DeFi to, you know, be successful. This is a big deal, and I do think that everyone should wake up. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because we want free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. It's just up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.